Remember, the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. V for Vendetta was directed by James McTeague and was written by the Wachowski brothers, and also stars Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman, and was released in the year 2006, and it's also the adaptation of Alan Moore's graphic novel of the same name. Since November 5th plays a big part in V for Vendetta, and since today is ironically November 5th, I feel like it's appropriate today for me to review V for Vendetta. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably don't know this, but V for Vendetta is one of my all-time favorite movies. I freaking love this movie. V for Vendetta is one of my all-time favorite movies, and not only that, I think it's one of the best comic book movies ever made, period. And for many good reasons. V for Vendetta takes place in this dystopian future in England in which the government is super corrupt and is ruled by this dictator who's played by John Hurt, rest in peace by the way. And there's this figure named V who's played by Hugo Weaving. The government considers him as a terrorist, but in reality he's actually trying to fight the government as a rebellion basically. And that's when he meets this girl who's played by Natalie Portman, and she's on divisive sides on whether she should join V's side or not. That's basically all I can sum it up, because the reason why I decided not to do spoilers in this review is because I want you guys, if you haven't already, to watch V for Vendetta and experience how much of a great movie it is. First of all, the performances are fantastic. Hugo Weaving plays V, and honestly, this is one of the best performances of his entire career, hands down. Because I know he's in other great movies as well, like, for example, Lord of the Rings, Matrix, Hacksaw Ridge. And while he is great in those other movies for sure, his role as V in V for Vendetta doesn't really get as much appreciation as those other roles in those other movies do when you think about it. And Natalie Portman plays Evie, who is the girl who meets V and gets mixed up in all this really bad crap. And, okay, when it comes to Natalie Portman, I'm not a humongous fan of her, but she's great in this movie because she's given a great script. I really like the character of Evie. I think she's very well written, and I think she's brilliantly developed because when you're first introduced to her, you basically see her as this innocent girl, but as the movie progresses, you see her get developed into this very different character. But what I like the most about V for Vendetta is that when you compare it to other comic book movies, it's very different. My problem with some comic book movies, at least the bad ones or the generic ones, is that they don't focus on the story that much. They rely too much on action scenes and not enough character development. V for Vendetta, however, is the exact opposite. I haven't read the Alan Moore graphic novel, so I can't compare anything, but what I like about V for Vendetta is that, like I said, it's very different from other comic book movies, but what I like about it is that it has a very thought-provoking message that was relevant when it first came out, and it's still relevant to this day. The message of V for Vendetta is basically about the government and how secretly corrupt they can be, because when you watch the movie, you're just like, huh, maybe my government does have a dark side to it. Very suspicious. Here's what makes me mad. V for Vendetta has a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm sorry, that is way too low. I do believe that V for Vendetta deserves to be ranked with The Dark Knight as one of the best comic book movies ever made, and I do believe it's one of the most underrated movies ever made. It has fantastic performances, a brilliant story, and a very thought-provoking message that was relevant back then when it first came out, and is still relevant to this day. I give V for Vendetta an A+. If you guys haven't seen V for Vendetta, I highly recommend checking it out. Even if you don't like comic book movies, I still say check it out, because it's one of those movies that I believe deserves way more appreciation and respect than it does. Alright guys, that's a wrap for my review of V for Vendetta. And if you guys have seen V for Vendetta, what are your thoughts on it? Whatever they are, just comment below. And if you want to see more of my videos, just be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more great content.